I think the first part of what I'm going to say today might be a bit unpopular with many people, but it is my firm belief, and I think one has to be honest to one's firm belief. And the 2 years of doing these videos and talking to various people and understanding the system, as it were, as best I can, and I'm not saying I'm an expert, and just remind you, this is only my opinion, and you can completely ignore it. I keep getting sent petitions. There's a petition going around at the moment saying, in effect, we want to get rid of this government and we need another one. We need another election, another general election. Now, I think in principle, that's very laudable. People are very dissatisfied with the government. Of course, the government is making some very odd decisions that do not, in my opinion, benefit anybody, whether it be the persons under it or the people who live on the great land mass of Britain. And I would be absolutely with them to see that we need a different system, absolutely. However, the two things here that I wanted to talk about on this is, firstly, petitions is effectively saying, look, we know you are the boss and we've come cap in hand to say, please, would you not be the boss? That seems to be what is going on with a petition. You're acknowledging the power and saying meekly, please, could you do our bidding? We don't like you very much, so please can you debate this? Which I personally just don't think will work. It might send a message to the government that the people are not very happy, but I would imagine the government know the people aren't very happy. You don't go around taking, say, farmers' inheritance 50% and think, yeah, they're going to be happy about that. Or all the other measures that we've seen, the net zero stuff and the surveillance, the 5G, the everything that they've been doing, the spraying of the skies and the putting fluoride in the water and all the various things that they're doing, not least taking away the fuel payments for pensioners. I think they know that they are unpopular. What kind of people would they be if they did those things and didn't know that they were unpopular? The problem with elections, and this was the other part to that, is that elections in and of themselves is a game, isn't it? If you agree to vote and take part in a vote, you're basically saying, may the best man win. And you'll see a pool of people, some that you don't like, some you do like, but you're saying, I'm happy to gamble in this game. I'll put my X on the box and may the best man win. You've agreed to the rules. Well, in the last election, the best man, let's say, won. I mean, I don't agree with the person who won. I didn't take part in the election. I didn't play that game. I didn't agree to those rules because I think that's a very fixed thing. After all, it doesn't matter who you vote for, the government always get in. And I think even if you have another election, you think, well, we'll go for a different party. We do know, do we not? I mean, we're not that stupid now to realise that whoever is in there are just puppets. They are having their strings pulled, that system does not work. So I just wanted to address that in this. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, which was to me much more interesting, is about science. And it sort of relates really to these nutcases who seem to think that they can run the world. We've seen two very large things, I think, in which we have been told science is fixed. One is the myth of man-made global warming. And the other one, of course, was a certain pandemic virus that was going around saying there's only one thing that we can do about this and there's only one solution that you can do. And people had to, or were cajoled into having a medical intervention. And now many people are thinking, hang on a minute, that was a bit bizarre. Why did we do it? Because it doesn't seem to be very beneficial. And I don't think it is. And people just kind of lost their mind. There was a bit mass psychosis and everybody went down one funnel. And I think this is the problem with science, that science has got to that point now where we're trying to explain everything in the world in a scientific way, as if everything in the world makes absolute sense, But my experience after 60 years of being on this planet is there are strange things, there are mystical things, there are esoteric things, there are things that I cannot explain. There are things like intuition, I mentioned that before. There are those people who believe in, I don't know, all sorts of different things and have results as a result of those beliefs. And people can't necessarily just say, oh, there's a scientific explanation. We have gone down the science route to the point that it has now become a new religion. And so much so that we have to trust the science as if science is the only thing. Well, that separates us, does it not, from our soul, from us, the thing that's inside the body. Yes, the body is a scientific marvel, and we can dissect that and pull it apart and say exactly how these things work. But we still don't really understand what the mind is, not the brain, or the self, the soul, the spiritual something. We can't quite get to grips with that. Or the subconscious mind, the mind that we can't really pin down. We can pin bits and bobs in a brain and say that brain seems to do this, but we don't really know. And it's as if we've moved mysticism and spirituality and belief out of the world, and we just have to have this scientific explanation for everything. And it seems to me now that science has become so complicated, a bit like how the church used to deal with its parishioners and say, well, we're the ones closest to God. You don't need to worry your pretty little heads about this. We'll do the interpretation. That's why everything's in Latin. You don't read Latin, so we'll do the interpretations and tell you how things are. And it does seem that science has done that. No, we're the scientists. We'll tell you what's going on in the world. We'll explain it to you, you dunderheads. You don't really know. You haven't done the courses. You haven't really fully understood it. You've got these gut reactions. You've got these spiritual ideas. But that's, that's irrelevant. That science is very complicated and you're stupid, and so therefore we'll tell you. And the science is fixed. Well, I think we know, anybody who's done some basic science will know that the science is never fixed, and really science is just hypothesis. It's just, here's a theory, and the theory only works until it's broken. And all the time the scientists should be testing that theory in case that theory is wrong. And you could keep going and going and going and trying it. For example, we all say, oh, well, gravity's a thing, isn't it? Because I can drop a ball 1,000,000 times and it always goes to the floor. It always goes. But if on that 1,000,000th time the ball floated up, maybe the theory only held that 1,000,000 times the ball will go down to the ground. Well, we don't ever spend a time dropping a ball 1,000,000 times, do we, to prove that or not? But anyway, that might have been a very silly example. But we've taken science, it seems to me, to become the nth degree, and that there's no room for anything else. And I think that's a huge mistake, as we have seen, because those who then command the science, the bishops, if you like, of the science world, are telling us, no, the science is fixed. Global warming is a thing. The virus is a thing. This is the only way. We've proved it with science. And I think this is a bit of a dodgy way to look at the world. Anyway, I just wanted to sort of explore that. You may disagree, as I say, but if you wouldn't mind not sending me these petitions, because I just don't think, I think that, again, it's all part of legislation. It's all part of a system we're told is the only thing, the only way of doing things, instead of a lawful, perhaps God's way, if you like, or a natural law way of doing things. Legislation is all man-made, and all the time you work within it, you've got to agree to being the person and doing it that way. And then again, it sort of mirrors what I'm saying about science. It's almost as if there's only one way of doing things, and if we don't do it that way, you're doomed. Well, maybe that's not true. Maybe we do need to have a bit more of an open mind and critical thinking. And maybe there are other ways that we've used in the past that have been beneficial to us, the people of this landmass that we live on. Or maybe maybe you don't agree with that. But it's entirely up to you. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day down here on the south coast. We have another grey, weather manipulated day, wet and miserable, as they say. Well, it's the science that's proving it. We have to block out the sun, the one thing that we all need. So make sure you take plenty of vitamin D. Thank you for watching.